Welcome back to another adventure video. I'm here with my brother Bennett, and we are on our way to Nevada to hike the tallest peak in Nevada. It's called Boundary Peak. We have just left Salt Lake City. It's about an 8-hour drive to get to the trailhead, and we're gonna drive probably 3/4 of the way there tonight and camp out somewhere and then finish the drive in the morning and hit the hike early tomorrow morning. Something kind of interesting, we both have lived in Utah for a long time, like 10 years or something, and we've never been to the Salt Flats, the Bonneville Salt Flats. So we are now exiting the freeway to go check out the Salt Flats. Okay, this is kind of unrelated to Boundary Peak, but this is way cool. We've never been out here before. We're driving onto the salt right now. The sun's setting and it's beautiful, so I'm gonna do a quick montage and then we'll get back to business. Here we go. Nothing but salt. That is cool. If you live in Utah, go to the Salt Flats. They are so cool. Not even hard to get to at all. It's just one of those things that I've always overlooked, never gone to. So, all right, back on topic now. We are going to summit Boundary Peak. It's pretty far away and it's very remote. So like I was saying earlier, we're just gonna drive out for, you know, however long we feel like until we start getting tired, and then we'll pull over and camp somewhere, sleep in the car or whatever, and wake up early enough that we can go and get the hike done and finish the drive and everything at a reasonable hour. So we're just gonna drive. It's not gonna be eventful for a while, so I will pull the camera back out when we wake up in the morning. So see you then. Okay, good morning from somewhere in the middle of Nevada. We're pretty much in a desert wasteland. We pulled off on a little road last night at about midnight and went to sleep. It was very nice to get some rest. So yeah, we're in a very remote area of Nevada, and it's only gonna get more remote. So we only have about 2 more hours of driving to get to the trailhead. We don't expect to see very many people, and it should be a good time. Okay, so a little update here. We just made it up to the trailhead. This is called the Trail Canyon Trailhead. And we came up here because I wanted to see what the road was like to this trailhead. There's 2 ways to get up to the Boundary Peak. The Trail Canyon here, or the Queens Canyon up a little further. And from what I've heard, the road up to the Queens Canyon Trailhead's a little more rough. This road here, I couldn't really find any information about what the conditions were like of this road, so that's why we had to borrow this truck from our dad. But I feel like you could do this road, if you had no other choices, you could do this road in pretty much any car. I have a Subaru Impreza that I feel like it would have made it just fine, but it would have been pretty rough. There were a few rough spots. So if you can avoid it, I would try and take a vehicle that has a little bit higher clearance instead of taking like a small car if possible. But if you don't have any options, I think a small car would be able to make it up here just fine. There's also this car here. This is like a Mazda something, and looks like they made it up here just fine too. And they have a little bit higher clearance than like a small sedan, but you know, they were fine. So yeah, like I said, this trail we're not gonna do because it's just flat the whole way, and then you just climb up a scree field, which doesn't sound that fun to us. There's another trail over here that goes right up the ridge, and then it's just a ridge traverse to the top of the peak right away. So we're gonna go over there, see if we can find that trailhead real quick, and I'll see you there. Okay, a little update here. We made it up to the Queen Canyon Trail. The road gets very spicy very quick. We barely made it up this road right here. Almost gave up a few times, but decided to push through. We're glad we made it though. This is a sweet trailhead. It's right up there. All right, we're geared up and ready to go. So like I was saying, we're taking the Queens Canyon Trail. Right now we just go up a bunch of switchbacks and then it's basically a ridge traverse all the way around another peak and then up to Boundary Peak. Should be pretty straightforward, so let's hit it. Okay, so we made it up onto the ridge here. This is pretty cool. We also have our first sights on Boundary Peak. Right up there. It looks somewhat intimidating. It still hasn't really become clear how we're gonna get to the top of that mountain, but so far there's been a pretty good trail this whole way, so follow the trail and see where it takes us. So far so good. This is a good hike. Okay, so we just made it to the saddle right before we make the steep push right up the face of this mountain, which will put us on the next saddle before we go up to the Boundary Peak. Honestly, at this point, we're thinking it probably doesn't really matter which way you take the hike. The Trail Canyon Trail is right over here. It looks like there might be some sort of a makeshift trail that takes you right to this point if you don't want to go up around the other side and go through the scree field. So I guess all I have to say is just do some research and decide which way you want to go. If you don't have a serious off-road vehicle, I would probably just go to the Trail Canyon Trail and call it a day. So anyway, I don't know, I'm not gonna lie, this looks a little intense. It looks like it just goes straight up, but it should go by quickly. We're making really good time, so here we go. Okay, we just made it up to the second saddle before our final push to the summit. We have it in our sights right there. So we still have at least another 1,000 feet of elevation gain, I'd guess. It's pretty high, but we're getting close. So far, so good. Real steep trail, but we're feeling good. And the weather's great. It's a great day to be up here. All right, well, we made it to the top of Boundary Peak. Our elevation is 13,146 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
Nice. So currently we are standing higher than anybody else in the state of Nevada. Pretty exciting. That's a pretty tough hike, just climbing up. It's really steep for most of the way, but it's doable. That was about 4 and some change miles, so not that far, just a lot of elevation gain. The thing about Boundary Peak though is it's right on the border of California, and on the other side of the border there's a peak that's about 300 feet taller than us. It's called Montgomery Peak. So that's kind of lame, but that's okay. We are on the Nevada high point. So yeah, the weather's pretty good. It's a little windy, but not bad. So I'm thinking we will just hang out here, enjoy the sun, enjoy our celebratory beverages and celebratory ramen noodles that we packed up today, which should be very good.
It's a great hike. Glad to be above the smoke. if I had to give any recommendations, it would be to not start off the day with a Pop-Tart, but we're gonna make up with that with some fresh cupo noodle. So yeah, great hike.
All right, this has been a very nice and pleasant lunch break on top of this mountain. We considered going up to Montgomery Peak, right over there, and we could do it, but I think we'd rather go back down. We're gonna camp down there by a little reservoir and do a little fishing, so I think we'd rather have a little more time to fish than, you know, feed the peak addiction a little bit more. I don't think it's that intense of an addiction that we should go and do that next peak. So, but yeah, feels good to be on top of the highest peak in Nevada. Also, strangely, the smoke has gotten a little bit worse since we've been up here, so be sure to get out of here before it gets too intense. All in all, I'd say it's been a good day. Weather was really good, all things considered, and considering how late it is in the season, the weather was very good and cooperative. So now all that stands between us and our truck is about 4 miles and a little over 4,000 feet of descending. And then we'll go chill out and hang out at camp. Boundary Peak. That was a pretty good day. I'd almost call it an A+ day. We got really lucky on the weather. There wasn't any wind up top and it wasn't too cold, and the wind really picked up as we came back down to the truck here, so that worked out really well. That ended up being about 8.5 miles with, I don't know the vert, somewhere in the 400 to 4,500 feet range, vertical elevation gain. And yeah, we felt really good. It was a great day, honestly. So now we're gonna go set up a camp just down the road there, hang out by the reservoir and just enjoy this evening. And then we'll wake up tomorrow and drive back to Utah. This has been the 3rd high point that I've done this season, so I guess you can now call this a series. I will link the rest of them in a playlist right on one of these sides here. If you wanna watch the other 2 videos I've done this season, you can go check them out. And I'm done for this season, but next season definitely want to do some more of these hikes. So thanks for watching my videos. As always, I appreciate you spending your time to watch, and I will see you on my next adventure.